this amazing podcast conference I was able to go to recently, Afros and Audio, and it's a podcast festival for Black independent podcasters where we come for 3 days and we get to learn about each other. We get to really get encouragement to keep going. I was so happy to go. I was so happy that I was able to arrange to be able to go and really be in the room to soak up all of this knowledge. I feel encouraged that there is this community, it exists. Afros and Audio has laid such an amazing foundation where someone like me, who's new to this community, is able to tap into, plug into, kind of like add myself into the movement that they already have going on. So if you're someone who's trying to get into a space, even if you're not trying to get into a podcasting space, but maybe there's a hobby of yours that's really grown into a passion and you are trying to connect with other people, see if there's something that already exists around you that you can tap into. Welcome to another episode of the Me in the Making podcast. I'm your host, Meli Clay, and thanks for joining me. Thanks for clicking on the link. Thanks for sharing with your friends. Thanks for letting people know about the show. It really helps us to grow, and I really appreciate it. This is a podcast about introspection, about encouraging personal development. It's really in the name, Me in the Making, and it's about yourself, how you choose to grow, what you're striving for, who you're trying to become, etc. So we get all into that. This is season 3 and I am on YouTube for season 3. We have video over here on YouTube. So if you are listening and you would rather watch, please click on the link in the show notes and it'll bring you right to me. I also have seasons 1 and 2 on anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, not Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. You can listen to seasons 1 and 2. And I generally speak to guests on seasons 1 and 2. I'm talking to them about who they are, who they thought they were going to be when they were younger, who they're becoming, etc. I'm getting into it to hear what their stories are. And through that, we learn a lot about ourselves, and it's just a way that we can get to know each other better. And I'll also have guests in season 3 as well and moving forward. But I also have solo episodes like this one where I talk to you all about what it is that I've been doing, how I've been growing, what I've been going through in my life. And this episode is about this amazing podcast conference I was able to go to recently, and it's called Afros and Audio. And it's a podcast festival for Black independent podcasters where we come for 3 days and we get to learn about each other. We get to really get encouragement to keep going. um, let's say maybe you don't have a podcast and you're interested in learning more about getting into podcasting. There were sessions about that as well. There were sessions for veteran podcasters to learn more about honing their crafts, honing how they're telling stories, etc. So it was an amazing time, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself and gush all over about this podcast festival. So I want to slow it down a little bit and let you all know that someone actually on the Spill app on social media told me about this podcast because she knew that I have my own podcast, and she knew, I think she's been there before. She knew that I would be able to get a lot out of it. So this it was in its 7th year, Afros and Audio, and unfortunately that was its last official year, at least by the people who are putting it on, because I can definitely understand how much work and money it takes to putting on a multi-day festival where people are coming to learn. You have different sessions, you have different vendors, you have to find a place to hold it all and to advertise about it, all the different things that you need in order to put on a successful multi-day event. So I'm just happy that I was able to be there in the room for the last one. and I was able to glean a lot of good stuff out of it. So even though it's the last one, I'll still be able to connect with the people who I met and also see them at other podcast festivals because I didn't even know that there were podcast conferences or festivals. It's something that just was not really on my radar. And so I'm very thankful for is Bless Rockwell on Spill who shared with me about this event, and I was so happy to go. I was so happy that I was able to arrange to be able to go and really be in the room to soak up all of this knowledge because there are people who have been doing podcasts for over a decade, and I was able to listen to them, to talk with them, just to hear more about their stories. So like I said before, even though, maybe you're listening to this and you're thinking about one day starting a podcast, or you have a podcast right now and you don't really have community around basically podcasting. Maybe you're podcasting all by yourself, and you don't really have an avenue to tap into the podcasting community that you're trying to get into. I would say look around maybe in your area, or maybe you're able to travel to a podcast conference. But I would say that is like number one. Number one thing to put on your priority list when it comes to getting support around this podcasting game, because for me this is a passion of mine. It started as a hobby, me listening to podcasts, but now it's grown into a passion of mine, and now I'm creating my own work, and I have been doing it a long time by myself. Now I do have a team of people who help me conceptualize the name, conceptualize the artwork, and bringing the vision forward, and also people helping me who are doing the sound, the audio engineering, the editing, etc. But really producing it, conceptualizing it, like the genesis of it all was through me alone. And it's something where in all the other facets of my life, I have some kind of support or community. And with podcasting, I never had that. And so tapping into this podcast festival was like very beneficial for me. So I would recommend, if you are thinking about starting a podcast, you're in this space right now and you feel like I don't know how long I'll be able to sustain this because I don't have anyone around me that I can talk about specific things that are happening to me when I'm podcasting, or trying to think of ideas, etc., trying to avoid burnout. I would say look around you, see if there's a podcasting conference, see if there is even maybe even like a podcasting meetup group that you can find where people in your area are meeting, or even if there's something virtual that you can tap into that would, probably be cost effective and beneficial for you to kind of raise you up. So I did an episode about the loss of community a few months back. It's in the feed if you would like to listen to that. And basically, I was talking about how I've lost my community in the workspace, in my day job, and also in the church space. So those are some communities that I feel like I won't ever really get back, and I go into it in more detail in that episode. But for this podcast festival that I was able to go to, I'm seeing that there are some avenues where I can build a community for myself within this podcasting space. So this is a community that it's a little bit unexpected for me. It's something after I learned about this podcast festival to go to, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll be able to tap into a community and talk to people about my podcast, listen to, what struggles they're having, etc. We can bounce ideas off of each other. We can collaborate. Someone, I think it was Victor, I was listening to his podcast called Liquor Talks, and he was saying, let's have this be collaboration and not competition because we can help each other grow our platforms by either being on each other's platforms or offering resources where we can help each other out, like be a true community. So I feel encouraged that there is this community, it exists, and I can tap into it. Like they have already built this foundation where it's dry. There's another creator named Jessie, and she has a podcast called, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name. I'll have my editor put the name in the top frame here, but I think it's Everybody Can't Go. I believe that's the name of the podcast. But she was saying to us at the festival, like the foundation is dry, we can build on top of it. Like Afros and Audio has laid such an amazing foundation where someone like me, who's new to this community, is able to tap into, plug into, kind of like add myself into the movement that they already have going on. So if you're someone who's trying to get into a space, even if you're not trying to get into a podcasting space, but maybe there's a hobby of yours that's really grown into a passion and you are trying to connect with other people, see if there's something that already exists around you that you can tap into because it's a lot to kind of reinvent the wheel yourself and to start a community all on your own. So see what's out there, see what resources you can potentially get into versus starting it all on your own because that can be a lot. Like we have a lot already going on our plates, so maybe there's something that you can tap into and help to grow as opposed to you starting something on your own because if there's something already going on out there that you can, plug into, you're just taking more resources potentially away from that group that's already happening. So I will say for this podcast festival for me before going, I I wanted to make sure I was getting everything out of it that I could because even before I went, I didn't know that this was going to be the last one, but I don't necessarily know if I would be able to make any future ones. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if I would have been able to be consistent to be able to go year after year. So I really wanted this first time to be purposeful and intentional for me. So I set a couple goals and a couple intentions for myself. And the two intentions were for me to have fun and to be open. So initially, okay, so I set these intentions after I set my goals, and my goals were pretty attainable, but I was starting to think a lot about my goals and think like, okay, I really want this to work out. I really want to be able to meet these goals and like have these boxes checked and everything. I was starting to think a lot about that, and the experience in my mind was becoming a little bit work-minded. I knew that I was going to have to network, and that is a certain level of work, but I was also starting to lose sight of podcasting. Like I enjoy podcasting so much. So getting into a mind frame or frame of mind of like, oh, this is gonna be work. I really need to like make sure that this white knuckling it, I like to say, make sure that this works out. I was just thinking, okay, Melly, let me take a step back and set these intentions to have fun and to be open. Like, even if I don't meet my goals right now, I could potentially, based on the type of community that I'm building, eventually be able to, reach those goals after a while. So I wanted my energy to be in a good spot, in an approachable spot for people to come in. I wanted to be inviting and to talk to them, listen to their stories. I wanted people to feel like they could listen to me, we could exchange ideas, etc. So those two intentions of being open and being and having fun really did help carry me throughout the weekend. And there were times where it did feel like work a little bit because you are talking to a lot of different people. You're listening, you're hoping that they're listening, you're coming with good energy, you're pitching yourself essentially. And so that was something at the end of a couple of days. I was like, wow, I am exhausted and I am an extrovert to the highest degree. But this was an experience where I'm essentially selling myself for multiple days at a time that it was taking a toll on me. But because I was making sure that I was being open and having fun and really like listening to those around me, it was all worth it. Like I was able to get my rest and to get my energy back up. And so I'm happy that I was able to rely on those intentions that I had set for myself so that I wouldn't lose focus on those were my main objectives. And the goals, even if I might not have met them specifically during those 3 or 4 days, I know that I can eventually make those things come true based on my intentionality of connecting with the people who I met and really like being a part of this community because community is about showing up. And that's something that I am making sure that I am going to be doing. It's something because I want to continue to learn from them and collaborate with people. And so I want to be able to show up to see what it is that I can also give to this community. So I'm just very excited. So if there's any passion that you might have, anything that you're trying to get into, see if there's a community around there where you can step into that space and help out because we all really need help at at these times. And maybe you're burnt out with work, maybe you have a day job or whatever, and you have some hobbies that you can really tap into to make this all worthwhile. I would encourage you to do that. So that was, I mean, an amazing experience. You've probably already seen some things that I've posted on my Instagram about Afros and audio. And I just want to keep the movement alive and keep moving forward. So I very much look forward to continuing to connect with people from that conference. And now I want to move into my segment called Pod Corner, where I recommend podcasts to you all, those that I've been listening to, those that I've been really loving. And this is a podcast from someone who I met at the festival, and the podcast is called Consider This for Comfort. So, this is a podcast where basically they're talking about comfort TV shows. So, shows where you can feel comfortable watching them. You just feel a sense of either nostalgia or it's something that's helping you get through a tough time or something where you're like, there's no effort. All I have to do is turn it on and I have a good time. I instantly feel good. And this is a show. The main host, her name is Etang Etta, and she was such a delight to meet at the festival. And I think she's been doing the show since 2024. So definitely tap in. There are a lot of different episodes that you can listen to, and a lot of shows that I have actually watched. So I'm like, okay, I want to see why other people are loving them. So yeah, I definitely recommend Consider This for Comfort and tap in wherever you get your podcasts. And this has been another episode of the Me in the Making podcast. I hope you share with friends. Please rate and review. That really helps the show to grow. And I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you. This has been another episode of the Me in the Making podcast. Please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Tell a friend, tell a family member. We all deserve to grow and change and become our best selves, whatever that might look like to you. And please connect on Instagram at Making Me Pod, on TikTok. You can email me at meli@makingmepod.com. I would love to hear from you. Let me know if you want to be a guest on the show. And yeah, I'm just having such a great time. I'm so happy to have been able to launch this video episode for you all, and come again. Bye.